Today we're going to talk about our month trip across France and how we spent it in 4 very different cities.
We're going to share the real cost of everything, our honest opinions.
And we'll also be ranking them in terms of which ones we preferred at the end. Some are more historical, some are more natural and scenic. We're going to go through all of that, our impressions, what we ate, how our personal experience was.
We hope this video can guide you on what to expect.
So you guys have a better idea and are more empowered to make the right decision on your next French vacation. Hopefully it benefits you somehow.
Just a quick note, we are traveling on a budget and booking 1 week at a time to make the most of our adventure while keeping costs low. If you're new here, we are Mo and Rafa, a couple with a mission to explore this beautiful world that's truly ours to discover. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button for weekly episodes of our global adventures.
Starting it off with
Paris.
Paris.
We flew from Ottawa to Paris, so that was our first destination.
If you're curious about our full journey, we have shared all the details in a separate video. Check it out for more behind the scenes.
We're pretty nervous about actually finding a place during the Olympics. We heard it might be packed, there might not be a lot of availability, but we did book like a week before and we found this really cute place in this very typical Parisian neighborhood in a Parisian style building, but that comes with pros and cons.
It was like a studio. We had the living room with the bedroom. There's no TV. The kitchen was quite small, so no dishwasher, no oven, no microwave.
Just us two, so we're comfortable in a small space. It didn't have all the amenities. We averaged about $100 a day for it. I think $100 was pretty fair for the location we were at. And the big thing for me actually was, and maybe that's more on us and that's something to be very careful of, is there was no air conditioning.
Yeah.
So we were there and right in the middle of summer, apparently some heat waves were rolling around, and not only did the place have no air conditioning, but not even a fan.
Yeah.
So we spent about 5 nights there and we sweated it every night.
And I think it was very surprising for me not having even a fan. Sometimes you don't expect the air conditioner. You're okay not having air conditioner, but at least a fan.
For sure.
It was pretty disappointing, this part. And then from this, we learned from very early on that definitely we have to start to set in the filter for Airbnb air conditioning.
One quick note on these old buildings. They're beautiful, they're really close to the central lab and everything, but understand that sizing in France and in Europe in general is much smaller. But in our case, the elevator was so small, we couldn't really fit there with our own backpacks, so we had to take the stairs. So this might be 5, 6, 7 flights of stairs. Make sure you do your due diligence about the stair situation. You know, where is your apartment on what floor, and if you or any loved ones do have any challenges going up and down.
It's always good to know what to expect. Especially when you're on vacation, right? That you want to have a great time and you're spending some money. So
to enjoy it. Yeah.
To enjoy.
One of the biggest pros in what we picked is actually the location. Our apartment was located near the Montpellier neighborhood in the kind of the northwest, right off the central of France. Not only did it have lots of shops, bakeries, mini markets all around, the location being so accessible to the rest of Paris, all the sites, I think was by far my favorite part of that.
It was also quiet. It's not like it was super loud and people party all night. Not at all.
No,
we could sleep very well other than the AC. It was said to be open. It wasn't too hot, but no sound.
$100 was seemed reasonable at the time for
Yeah,
France,
but
and
for
especially
France.
for Paris. You know, I would compare Paris with like New York, London. So being able to stay in one of these global cities for at this price is
Pretty good. Transportation was definitely something that was amazing Paris, and as we expected, the metro can connect to everywhere. There's so many different lines that take you everywhere around the city,
and it's the frequency of those trains too as well.
That's very
right?
important.
So a lot of places you'll see on our future travels where we take metros, but a lot of times we end up waiting so long just for each train, and then especially if you got to connect between different trains, you even extend that. But in Paris, really, we never really waited for more than a minute or two, even while transferring to take trains.
We bought a metro pass for 10 days, right?
Yeah.
And we definitely recommend that you get one because it's very easy to visit all the sightseeing by public transportation.
Don't count how many times you're going to take the metro. Just get a pass.
Yeah.
You know, we paid around maybe €7 per day for our 10 days to get like the pass per person. And it was, you know, money extremely well spent. Maybe we took it too much for granted and we assumed the rest of France and Europe would be like that. But it's definitely a specialty of Paris.
It was very easy to buy the pass. You don't even need to go to a physical location to buy the pass. You can just buy through your phone.
You don't have to worry about having a ticket or anything.
You can just tap your phone. It's very, very, very convenient, and they make it very easy for you.
My only note is make sure your phone is charged, because I was in a situation where my phone died and I thought it would work by just tapping, but it didn't work off the bat for me. Maybe your experience is different, but
Food, I guess.
Food options, you can't go wrong in Paris. You have from really affordable stuff all the way to expensive. And being in such an international city, you can get all types of cuisine you want.
We are doing this around the world trip, and you can check our vlog. We are releasing episodes
on a weekly basis-ish.
And what was in the food? Oh yeah, so we're in a budget, right? Because they're trying to explore the most amount of place
trying to stretch as much as we can go with our initial budget. So
exactly. So Paris. Bakery is pretty cheap, right? Croissants are actually very cheap.
Yeah, like less than €1. I think we were getting 60, 70 cents-ish per croissant, like a nice full croissant. You can easily have a breakfast for like €1 or €2. That's a croissant and a coffee, like an espresso coffee, just FYI. Yeah. It's not like a long coffee, but an espresso coffee.
You're having coffee at home and Airbnb that we bought in the supermarket. Baguettes are very cheap too. You can buy in the supermarket a whole baguette for €1, less even sometimes. And even if you buy this baguette sandwich from a store, like a proper store, it's like €7. And then you get a full big one, and you're splitting even. So it's pretty affordable too.
You know, for us, it's been actually much cheaper than in North America just to do grocery shopping. And since we're on a bit of a tight budget on these trips, we love these supermarkets that we can quickly stock up and make quick lunches, dinners, even breakfast for the days. They have a lot of these pre-made sandwiches. We got some roasted chicken from like the side of the street. They just have them being cooked live. You know, he puts a big piece of chicken in a bag, nicely roasted with some like potatoes for like €6-7. So that was like an awesome hack. This is something maybe we saw across France in general. Their local foods are pretty cheap. We found cheese, baguettes, croissants, things they do pretty cheap. Of course, you can go infinitely more expensive. What I noticed in Paris specifically is on any touristic destination like Eiffel Tower, they're kind of aware that a lot of maybe tourists are there. So they're kind of expecting like full meals, and those can get really expensive. I mean, you know, more in the range of 20, 25, 30 euros per meal. That might not be super expensive for some, but you know, for us, where we're trying to like scrape by the minimum possible, we found it to be way more affordable to just go to like, you know, small markets, mini markets, and the shopping centers, and just buy ingredients that we can cook up or put together. And
average cost for our food in Paris per day was $45 for 2 people.
So that's including breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. Activities, things to do, what you can do in Paris. I mean, it's pretty endless. For the free activities, you might be familiar with Paris is a beautiful place to go and visit all the beautiful sites. And a lot of those sites you can do for free. For example, going to the Eiffel Tower. You can go inside, go to the top, pay a ticket to go, or you can just walk around it beautifully. You can enjoy some of Paris's landmarks like the Seine River, where you can walk alongside it and take a beautiful view of the Eiffel Tower. Pro tip, stay for sunset and stay up to 10 p.m. Because at 10 p.m. it does like glow up and light up and all of that. It's a beautiful romantic sight.
It's a free activity. You can go any time of the day, and it's actually very beautiful to see. I find it beautiful just to see the Eiffel Tower.
Other sites like Montpellier has Sacré-Cœur, which is, you know, beautiful old basilica that with a very nice view of the rest of Paris.
You can enter the basilica too for free, which is worth it in my opinion.
And then we have
Notre Dame,
walking around those like old historic areas. The Arc de Triomphe, walking around Champs-Élysées. Doing a lot of people watching, really, honestly, just kind of sitting down, taking it slow. That's like a whole activity by itself. A lot of them you can of course pay to do more things. For example, the Louvre. Just walking around the Louvre and the gardens around are extremely beautiful. That's completely free. We decided to check it out. We're not sure the next time we'll be in Paris, so we wanted to, you know, do the once in a lifetime experience. It wasn't too expensive. This was about €20 per person, so about $22. We booked online. Surprisingly, we didn't have to wait in any line. Kind of showed up at our allocated time, and we got in.
You have to book online. We tried the day you arrive. We walked around. They're like, oh, let's enter. Being more spontaneous. We couldn't. You had to book online. So you had to book for the next available date.
Yeah, which is not every day, by the way. So like book a few days ahead if you're planning to go to Paris and you know your schedule from now. Book it from now, because it's not guaranteed the day of or the next day you'll find something.
And another thing, good tip is reserve the entire day for the Louvre. Because one, you're going to walk a lot. We were so tired. You walk it so much, it's literally huge inside. You can take many, many hours inside.
We didn't even finish the
Yeah.
Louvre. Wow, we basically did a
So-
third of it. You guys can check out our videos
Yeah.
when we're at the Louvre and how we explored different parts of Paris. But yeah, we were like exhausted. We decided to go on a run before. We were like, we went at 5 p.m. We're like, we'll beat the crowds, go at 5 p.m. But we just didn't have energy in the tank to keep going. It was surprisingly how easy it was to get to the Mona Lisa. At least I've always heard stories like, the Mona Lisa, there's going to be a huge crowd and everyone makes fun of the crowd and it's going to be insane.
True.
But we went in, there was like a bit of a crowd, but like, that's nothing. Like if you wait like 2 minutes there, you can get like right to the top front row. And we took some picture selfies. You guys can see that in our video. And we were just there on a weekday and it was just that chill. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the whole Mona Lisa thing passed on, or maybe people make a big thing out of it. Also, Mona Lisa is an Italian painting by an Italian guy that for some reason the French claim. So what's up there? Paris is very famous for its shows, its cabaret shows. The famous one is Moulin Rouge, that attracts maybe the most tourists. It is also quite expensive. Raphael was actually able to find slightly more low-key underground, still pretty proper, like, it's associated with Moulin Rouge, but you still get, the cultural gist of it. You still get to enjoy some live music and in a nice kind of setting.
It was walking distance from Moulin Rouge, so we still pass in front of the Moulin Rouge theater. You can take pictures.
Took pictures.
And it was actually recommended by Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
Their website recommend this other place. It's literally less than half the price. So we paid $50 per person instead of $130 or something. So it's pretty good.
And that was like our one activity we wanted to do for ourselves. Even though we're on a budget, we did it. Don't miss a cabaret show. It's just something that really kind of shows you the essence of Paris and all of that. The Louvre, if you're into old statues, history and stuff like that. If you're not into history or anything like that, you can skip the Louvre.
One thing that was definitely different and I guess unexpected.
It was definitely a shock for us just how clean everything is. We're used to graffiti and some different smells and scents that Paris is pretty famous for. But things were really clean. All the sites were super clean. Really, just all, at least the central Paris area that we were going all around was super clean.
We are doing this August 2024. If you have seen this video visiting Paris after, let us know in the comments if it's still super clean and safe, because it definitely was super clean and super safe.
I think the city's been trying really hard to kind of implement harsh security just so that nothing happens specifically related to the Olympics. Maybe hopefully it's a turning point for Paris's kind of infamous reputation for pickpocketing and kind of the sense and dirtiness that it's kind of associated with.
The second city we went after Paris was
Lyon. We decided to drive there because we wanted to keep driving and explore France. To rent a car, we went down to Paris Orly Airport because we found a pretty cheap deal, and Orly Airport is south of Paris, so that's a bit closer to Lyon instead of Charles de Gaulle, which is northeast. We got a car for about $40 a day, and we drove it down to Lyon. So the drive itself, we looked at it previously, it was about a 4-hour drive, but we were pretty surprised with the tolls. Now I knew there was tolls, Google Maps showed it was tolls. They didn't say how much the toll was. I've never had to pay more than, $4 or $5 for a toll, but actually that toll was about $44.
What's the problem?
It's a bit expensive.
Like how much?
Like much more than America. We arrived to Lyon through our accommodation, and because we had a car, when we were looking for Airbnb, we had to look for places within our budget and had free parking for the car. We found this place for about $82 a day. It was in the suburbs of Lyon, where there's not a lot of shops and restaurants.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, mostly cars.
It was a large Airbnb compared to Paris, of course.
It had its advantages that in the suburbs you have access to very large supermarkets.
One thing to be mindful when you choose your accommodation, whether in the suburbs or in the city center, is that public transportation, you're going to talk a little bit more about that, is not that convenient.
For where we were located, we were unfortunately surprised that we didn't have good connections to the rest of Lyon in terms of taking public transportation or walking around. Now we stayed for a short time, about 3-4 days, and we were definitely planning to spend one of those days outside of Lyon. So we knew that we had, a day or two to explore Lyon.
Because you went on a Sunday to the city, it was actually very easy to find parking, and it was free.
Let's see if we have a ticket. No ticket?
No.
Woohoo!
Because it's free parking.
Free on Sundays.
And entire August. So you park the car and you could just walk around Lyon. The city center. Food, we were cooking. We bought breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
There's some sweet and dessert places in between there. We had sushi one night. We had some desserts the other night. So we did do some cheating there.
The supermarket was pretty cheap and bought this already pre-made sandwich. Extremely cheap. Little. And we got sandwich. A full-on sandwich. Pretty good. And it's like a chicken, a tuna, and it was €151. Very, very cheap, each one of those.
If you're familiar with
Yeah.
North American kind of sandwiches, they're like, but these sandwiches were pretty good. You know, they have like the ratings of health, so you can tell they don't put a lot of preservatives in them. Instead of stopping by some junk food, fast food place, you just,
Yes.
we were very lucky that we were able to kind of discover these supermarkets have great food on the go that you can just pick up and eat.
We spent $54 per day with food.
There's a famous type of food in Lyon called bouchons. I'll probably fix that somewhere, but bouchonneries, which are basically like a type of chef-made. It's traditional food. It's a bit expensive from what I saw, at least $23, $24 per plate, and there's some like famous sites that people go. So if you're into that type of food, Lyon definitely has a reputation for kind of being like a fancy food place within France. A lot of people call it the gastronomical capital. Maybe that's a bit distinct from Paris. There's a lot of squares, a lot of shops and restaurants. It's kind of like a, maybe I'd say a smaller Paris, but just way less busyness, way less hustle and bustle. A small to medium-sized city, I would say, especially if you're in the kind of the main city area of Lyon. But it still has major sites, has an opera house. And one of our kind of cutest neighborhoods that we spend a lot of time in is this place called Ville Lyon, which is like Old Lyon.
Very cute.
Very cute, super tight streets, lots of restaurants, and like search shops and like activities, and it's definitely the touristic side of town. But it it feels quite nice to kind of walk around and enjoy. And when we were there, we had a pretty cool opportunity to go up to the Basilica that's pretty famous in Lyon. We walked all up the stairs.
Yeah, and definitely go. You're kind of wondering like, should we go, because it's a lot of stairs to climb. And you cannot really see that much from the bottom, right? So like, is it worth it? The view is not. Definitely go. Because you go through a park which is pretty green, and it's different. Like I found it amazing.
Apparently there's like a transport option though up there, like you can take a bus or public. There's some sort of transport you can go up. It didn't seem obvious how to do that, and again, there's a lot of people just going up the stairs, and it's kind of hard to estimate how hard the stairs were. I would say they're difficult. We made it. You will definitely make it, but it's difficult. If you're with elderly people, it might not be as easy to go all the way up. So look at the alternative options, but it's definitely worth going up. One of the cool things about Lyon, you're just a few hours away from the start of the French Alps. You feel like mountain lakes, alpine lakes, all that type of jazz. It's a great place to get nearby, and that's one of the major reasons we actually opted to rent a car, so that we were able to experience that. If you are comfortable driving, I would definitely recommend that you take a day or two to just drive around the Alps, go to the different villages, look at the beautiful mountain passes that we drove through, and check those out. We went through a town called Annecy that had like a beautiful lake, beautiful water. People were swimming and enjoying. So
it's really, really, really a hidden gem. There's Annecy.
From Lyon, it is a few hour drive, so it's not as simple to go and come. Definitely go spend a day or two in the middle of this Annecy or in the middle of the Alps to really get the full pleasure and come back. If we were to go again, I would definitely spend more time just like actually in the Alps. That was one of the super cool things about Lyon, just how close it is to the Alps. Where are we, Hef?
I don't know actually.
Well, we're somewhere in the French Alps. This is actually one of the routes for the Tour de France. So quite a lovely, lovely road to both drive or cycle.
We didn't spend anything extra on activities in Lyon, so the total came to zero.
Next stop is
Montpellier,
France.
We drove from Lyon to Montpellier. That's how we got there.
It was about a 4-hour drive. The tolls were still super expensive. I think about like $27, $28. It's definitely a France-wide thing that they charge a crazy amount for the toll.
And how about the gas?
The gas is a bit more expensive than North America, but 20 to 30%, just assume that, and I think you'll do good.
We also stay in the suburbs in Montpellier. We had the car, had to find a place with parking, and it's hard to find in the city center too. The Airbnb cost was $90 per night. We stayed there for 3 nights. Was a very, very cozy Airbnb. It was like really amazing. It was like one of my favorites. Airbnb was very small, but it was so functional.
It was very well designed and well thought out of.
We had laundry, AC, of course, very convenient, but again, in the suburbs.
In the suburbs, Montpellier itself, just understand, is way smaller than Paris and Lyon. We were really lucky because we were located by like a beautiful park that we had like a nice place for us to run, and at the same time we're in a great location because the tram, overhead train, or I guess a train that goes on land, the tram station was just a few minutes walking. We were right on one of the main lines. It takes us about maybe 25 to 30 minutes, but does get us right in the middle of Montpellier, which was okay by us.
Very convenient to reach city center.
Yeah. And cheap.
And cheap. So we just bought this one-time ticket, I guess 2-way ticket to go and come back to the city center, the train. But then car, gas, tolls to go from Lyon to Montpellier.
Yeah.
We spent $72 per day
Yeah.
ish. So for 3 days.
That's
we
including
spent-
the car rental cost as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So that's
important.
car rental plus gas, tolls, parking if we had to pay for that. But yeah.
Food in Montpellier, how much you spend?
While we're pulling that up, the main places we've kind of found out is Carrefour, Aldi, and Monoprix. Those seem to be like the big chain stores all around, with Aldi being like your cheapest of cheap, and then you have like Carrefour, which is your regular kind of supermarket, and then Monoprix, which can be hit and price, but Monoprix is just available in much more places.
So Montpellier also cooking, breakfast, everything. We bought one day like salmon already seasoned, and then we could make with some mashed potatoes. It's very tasty, amazing. We were spending $48, $49 per day for two.
For two, yeah. So overall, because again we're relying mostly on ourselves and supermarkets and stuff to eat, we did notice that we are averaging right around the $50 mark in general per day for food across France. That's something that you can't go wrong with. Wherever you go in France,
Yeah.
supermarkets are going to be pretty similar. In terms of Montpellier itself, I mean, one of the cool things, it's kind of like a small university city, or even like I would say a large town or a small city. So there's kind of a lot of young energy, a lot of cafes. They have like the core, the old Montpellier, but it's like packed with cafes and people just out and enjoying. It's a bit different than Lyon. I found with Lyon maybe it was more touristic. It's just catered to tourists. You don't really find locals out and about. But in Montpellier, you can really feel it. Just people from their universities, young people just out enjoying a good time and music and just stuff out loud. And if Lyon felt smaller than Paris, Montpellier is definitely smaller than Lyon.
And it felt even very diverse too. In Montpellier, you can see several different restaurants. So you have like a very casual restaurant here, and then like a coffee shop here, and then like an Indian, and then a Lebanese, and then a American, and then a French one. So it's very diverse, and then a church.
There's
everything,
a lot going on.
A lot going on. You explore Montpellier for one day, the city center. So we walked around for a full day. There are some historical sites that we visited.
One of the cool things about Montpellier, it's not exactly on the beach, but it's pretty close to the beach. We drove about maybe 25 minutes from where we were down south, and we were on the Mediterranean Sea. The water is all right. It's nothing out of Instagram or anything like that, but the water is nice. It was warm when we were there. The beach is super busy, of course, but it's very, very long, and
so I'm sure you can find some spots that are not busy.
It's a calm beach, right? Mostly families, and it's pretty chill. We were able to find parking. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but we had free parking just right in front of the beach. We actually have a funny story.
Yeah, so we basically parked in this beach and you start to walk. Well, let's try to avoid people, right? Let's go a little bit further down. We are walking outside of the beach so you can see the sand. And then when you enter the beach, it's a naked beach.
Yeah.
But there's no sign anywhere. Like literally there's no sign. And it's just like everyone is full on naked. So you have families, you have kids, you have old, young, everyone. And then I look right, it's just like I just naked. I look left, I just naked.
It was a bit uncomfortable because we didn't know what to do. We didn't want to offend anyone. We were of course fully dressed, fully like hats, shirts, everything. So that was a bit of a surprise for us. FYI, they do have that. If that's your thing, totally cool.
Amazing, you're gonna find a place
you're gonna love it
there.
But for us, we weren't really ready for that or expecting it. So
We didn't spend anything extra on activities in Montpellier, so the total came to zero.
After Montpellier, we went to our last destination in France, which was Nice. What a nice place.
it's in the name.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so Nice, we started with accommodation. It was quite expensive, actually.
It was quite expensive, actually. This was by far the hardest place to find accommodation in our budget, at least for the summer. It was like really hard.
We paid $114 a night, and you stayed in a student housing.
Like a dormitory housing, yeah.
Really the simplest
Simplest, yeah.
of all the accommodations, and you had a kitchen, had AC, had a sofa bed.
Yeah, we didn't have like a bed, it was a sofa bed.
It was extremely simple, and $114 a night.
Plus another $50 for parking.
Oh, $50 per day?
No, for the whole thing. So another $10 for parking.
So $124
With our parking, yeah.
with the parking
Yeah.
per night, which is quite pricey.
And it was like really like a lucky we found it. Most places were at least 150, 160 and above per night, and they didn't look nice at all.
Reminding everyone that we are booking those accommodations 1 week in advance. We did this for all the 4 locations, so it might be different if you book with more time in
You
advance.
might find better deals, especially if you don't come in August. We were lucky that our accommodation wasn't necessarily anywhere nice or fancy. It wasn't like in the downtown or in the old Nice or even by the water, but it was located close to one of the tram lines, the train lines, which let us easily go down towards this old area, as well as, of course, we had a car. And I would say it's not impossible to find parking near the old city and by the water, but it is a bit of a challenge, so you can't assume you'll find. There is a lot of parking garages and place to place your car, right? And I'm talking about on-street parking, but still, we were able to, from the student dorm that we're in, which was on a nice boulevard. I mean, nothing famous, but it was a nice boulevard, a bit north of the city, but we were right on the transit line. And with that, we were able to like go right into the middle.
Always try to find accommodation near a tram line if you're not staying in the city center.
Yeah.
Because this really makes life easier.
Makes
And you spend about, similar to the other cities, $72 per day for a car, just including the rental, gas.
Tolls, lots of tolls getting in Nice, out of Nice.
So we've spent about $33 per day with food in Nice.
I think one thing actually we were able to spend less money in Nice is just because we were in Montpellier before and we would buy a lot of things, you know, because we had a car. It was actually very simple for us to just take with us. So we were able to just carry a lot of our grocery stuff with us. And
we could save some money buying stuff in Nice to cook. But we mainly cooked. We went to a very nice hamburger place that is also in our Nice video. Was not the cheapest hamburger, but compared to the options to eat in a restaurant at night, it was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
It was very like casual. We enjoyed it.
We enjoyed it quite a bit.
It's, I mean, amazing, really.
It's stunning.
It's so nice. The beach is really close to the city, different than Montpellier.
It's like on the beach.
It's on the beach.
Yeah.
The beach is amazing.
The beach is really nice,
The water is just so nice and it's calm and it's just nice. I think people are not loud. It's very relaxing. You really can have a nice beach experience.
Yeah, they did a really good job of actually building a very nice like walking, running area right on the beachfront so that you can like enjoy it as much as you can. And then a lot of old Nice and the touristic sites are like just a block off of the water. So it's kind of all in one area. And it's, you know, it's not a huge city, but it is kind of large. I would say it's closer to like maybe Lyon in size, where there's a lot of city going on.
So in Nice itself, you're gonna visit the old city, which is very, very nice. Restaurants, cute, a lot of restaurants. The beach right there, watch the sunset, beautiful, just by the coast. And then go to the beach throughout the day. It's amazing. Just go, spend many hours there. It's very, very nice. The water is so refreshing. It's just amazing.
And you know, one of the things if you guys are driving around Nice is, of course, it's a beautiful place. French Riviera, Côte d'Azur. So if you guys like driving on roads and nice roads, I recommend definitely to take, you know, get off the highway as you get towards Saint-Tropez area and just drive on that coastal road. Beautiful. It's a lot of nice small towns. I mean, it is a bit of a slow drive because there's a lot of traffic and, you know, people might be going a bit slower, but you'll get some beautiful views.
You should definitely take some days just to do this side trips outside of Nice.
And if you're thinking about going to these other cute cities, you can actually also use the train. They do have a good system where if you want to go to Saint-Tropez, Antibes, Monaco, Menton, they do have like a train line that runs across them.
One day we went to Monaco, which is extremely close.
Yeah, maybe like a 20-30 minute maximum and you're there.
Yeah, and you can take the train.
Take the train, you can drive.
But driving, the view is like amazing.
Really nice, It's
just amazing.
And once you get to Monaco too as well, it's pretty chill to drive there. It's kind of cool to actually drive on a Formula One track, I would say. And parking is not terrible. There's actually a lot of parking garages all over Monaco. And I think the price is fixed for like €2 an hour. So you would imagine such a place would have very expensive parking, but actually parking
it's not the case, actually.
is cheaper than Nice almost. Feel more than free to just like drive into Monaco and just get to enjoy it in that way.
We parked in the main parking in the harbor, the main area. I mean, there are a lot of parking spots, as Mohammed said, like parking garage. And you just walked from there for a few hours or so.
Yeah.
And then you came back to the car and drove back to Nice.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely doable,
just very convenient
to
and
go
nice.
To these places, yeah.
And the other place to drive to is Gorge du Verdun. It's definitely definitely worth it.
I feel it's one of those things that, no one really tells you about Nice or really France, that they have such types of sites. Basically imagine like Zion or Grand Canyon. It's like a huge canyon with like a very nice river in between that you can go in, kayak, and get to explore.
And it's cheap to rent a kayak. I was so surprised. We paid 10 euros to rent a kayak for an hour to explore this amazing river between the canyons. So it's just a must. If you're in the area, it's really, really worth it.
It's about a 2-hour drive from Nice towards the northwest, but definitely worth it when you're there. We've been actually keeping up with this really cool budget tracker that I've created. I'm happy to share with you guys if you guys are interested. We were traveling as much as our budget permits us to, so to be able to get more days, we gotta be really careful and more importantly, keep track of what we're spending so that we know how much we have in the future and kind of understand how much we spent on everything. Here it is, a quick sample of it. If you guys want the Excel file, just comment below and I'll be happy to send it to you guys. We might be doing a more in-depth review of this if anyone cares.
Let's quickly go over the total costs for each city. Starting with Paris, our total came to $161 per day, which includes accommodation, transportation, and food, and $152 for activity. We spent 5 days in Paris with a total cost of $957. In Lyon, we spent a total of $212 per day, so for 4 days, the total came to $848. In Montpellier, our total was $211 per day and $633 for 3 days. In Nice, we spent $229 per day, including accommodation, transportation, and food, and an extra $22 with activities. This came to a total of $1,167 for 5 days. Overall, the total cost of our 17-day trip to these 4 amazing cities came to $3,605 for 2 people.
Paris is Paris. It's one of Paris, and let's face it, if you're coming to France for vacation, you're gonna stop by Paris.
Yeah.
You're not gonna miss Paris, right? So that's been our experience in Paris. Overall, my favorite things about Paris were the public transportation, the ability to go to so many places.
For sure. This is number 1, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, really. There's just so much to do and see in the city. It's a huge city, you get that. Of course, that comes with the cons, that it's a big city. We like to run. We didn't really have good luck finding like empty big open spaces to run in central Paris. I'm sure if you go outside you can find some big empty spaces.
There are a lot of squares, of course, a lot of parks,
Yeah.
but then these parks are all packed. I've never seen this in my life. People are running and there's a traffic of people running. I have to like go in different places. It was like
It's a hustle and bustle city, so you won't find a lot of places to just be quiet and just get to know other people and like the cute town feel.
You're
We
right.
don't get that in Paris, right? It's hustle and bustle. Like compared to New York City, people are on the move. Even the tourists are on the move. Everyone's on the move. You got to be fast and keep up and walk along. But if you want to be on a fast pace, it's a good place to be.
Yeah. How many days do you think a person needs in Paris?
good point.
It's tough. I
It's
think
tough. Yeah.
it's never enough. I guess,
It's never enough. It's a
because
place. It's a place you have to kind of experience, right? You can go to all the sites, but you won't really understand Paris that way, right? I think, I would say at least like we were there 5-6 days, and I think maybe that was the minimum that you can really spend to like maybe get a feel for the place, right? You get to try enough different foods, go to different places, see different neighborhoods at different times of the day.
For the main sightseeing
Sightseeing,
I think 3 days you can go. Yeah.
There's like hundreds of museums. If you want to just like target and like back to back, like again, the public transportation makes this actually easy to do.
3 days you can do it.
Yeah,
and
you can
maybe
do it in 3
everything.
days, yeah.
But 5 days for
Just
you
get
to like
some breathe
also
air,
get some breathing air and
you can go to all
relax
the
a
different
little
weird
bit.
neighborhoods. Like we were walking in a place just like a Japanese neighborhood, like full of Japanese stores, Japanese snacks,
Very
Japanese
nice.
restaurant.
We
didn't
got
know it
some bubble
existed.
tea.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of things you just stumble upon in Paris that it's
nice.
worth giving a few extra days for that.
But of course, if you can be like there for longer,
Yeah.
you can always find something to do in Paris.
So
Definitely.
if, you have vacation time. It's just less crowded. It's more like a small, medium-sized city. I would say medium-sized city. So you still get some advantages of Paris, where like restaurants, options, you can shop. But it's also much calmer. You can walk to the middle of the square and just chill there and find parking, and on the weekend at least. If you are staying in Lyon, definitely don't miss out and be really central in the city. Maybe towards the West River. That's like midway between the old town and the new town. That seems like really the area to. If we were to go back, that's definitely the location we would enjoy, and especially that it's small enough that you don't really have to use public transportation.
Yeah.
I mean, we were able to just walk across what seemed like most of the interesting sites by foot. The pros of Lyon, next to the Alps for sure.
Yeah.
And the second one for me is it's just more manageable. It's a cute small city, small to medium city that you can kind of explore at a slower pace, sit down, enjoy, and really get to fully explore without feeling rushed.
Yeah, you can take it slow. Cons, Definitely the transportation.
Yeah.
So if you are staying outside of the city center, it's not easy to get to the city center. What else becomes?
I would say there's like less big famous sites. You know,
Definitely.
if you're into like old historical famous sites, it doesn't have too much of that. It's more like a city that's nice to maybe live in.
So I'd say if you stay in Lyon for 2 days, it should be enough, especially if you're staying in the city center. But maybe split this in 2 days so you can walk around during the day one day and walking around the night the other day. Maybe 2 days in Lyon and then 2 days in the Alps.
Yeah.
And you can drive from Lyon, but if you can find a place in the Alps and the middle, then you can stay for 2 days. Then you can experience even more. Imagine waking up with the mountains might be amazing. But we just drove for the day and then we came back, which was already amazing.
Yeah, it was already amazing. Biggest pros about Montpellier, I think it's even calmer than Lyon and Paris.
But at the same time, it's like more lively, don't you think? Because of I think the university, the younger people, so it's lively.
It's like a lively small city. It's kind of like a university town. If you know one of those where on your main streets, there's always going to be shops, restaurant, people are going to be out. But
there's
outside of that
performers. So it's cozy, it's small.
It's cozy and lively.
It's fine, but at the same time, it's lively.
Yeah. The beach is a pro.
The beach is a pro.
If you like to just be around water, it's not like right nearby, but it's nearby enough that you can go pretty easily in a day and come back.
It's quiet and lively, young.
Yeah.
I think the cons might be just that although this Airbnb was amazing, it was small. So I assume that the price, I think, is pricier
maybe real
than Lyon.
estate. Yeah, maybe it's pricier just because there's less supply. University town, so maybe they have to rent more.
Yeah. So I think I recommend you to stay 2 days in Montpellier, so you can do walking around the city. One day you can complete it, but then another day to be comfortable. And then if you care about going to the beach, I think a third day that you can really just choose one beach to go and enjoy a little bit the coast.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and in terms of like things to do in events, again, I think just walking around the city center is really lovely. Just, taking a stroll, stop by a cafe, enjoy yourself. You probably have heard the Côte d'Azur, the French Riviera. It really lives up and probably exceeds what you might think or the expectation we have.
Very nice.
It's definitely you will definitely understand why it's a playground for the rich and famous. For pros, of course, by the water, by the beach, even the city of Nice, before you go to other places. The beach in Nice is wonderful. The water is perfect. The temperature is nice. The environment of the beach is really calm and nice. So you can just enjoy it. And again, the location is it's right in front of like the downtown, like the old Nice. So it's an amazing destination if you just want to get in some calm water. And to add to it, it's a lovely city. It's clean. It's extremely fun to go around.
I think also the drives, as you're saying, like Gorge du Verdun, Monaco, it's just the proximity to these very nice areas and the mountains, just the view.
It's beautiful mountains, beautiful nature.
Yeah, and I think more than what you see is actually be able to experience it. Because then, you might look at the beach, it's nice. So I've seen beach like this before. But then when you actually experience it,
it's accessible,
another level.
And you can still enjoy the fine dining, the experience, enjoying a full city experience, plus kind of the full relaxation beach all in like one place with like nature as a beautiful backdrop. I would say the only con, in my perspective, is cost.
Yeah,
it's just cost. It's just accommodation cost. It's an expensive place, and everyone wants to be there, which makes total sense.
Yeah.
But that makes it pretty expensive. If it's within your budget, definitely go. We went in August, so like in the middle of summer, and it was beautiful. We didn't go in winter, so we don't know how it is in winter.
I would say at least 3 days in Nice for you to actually go to the beach and then go enjoy the night. What do you think?
Yeah, so in Nice, they have lots of stuff going on. So of course, there's the beach activities they can enjoy in the daytime or even at sunset. But I would say Old Nice too is really, really nice. They have lots of small streets, big streets, shops, restaurants. Just a very nice environment to be in, to walk around. We go for runs a lot by the beach. It was a nice 5-kilometer stretch,
it was
uninterrupted.
So easy.
Yeah, 2-3 days in Nice just to really enjoy it, take it in easy.
I would recommend 2 days extra, 1 day for Monaco, 1 day for Gorge du Verdun.
Yeah. If you want to go further to Menton, if you have extra time to do that. And then also on the west side where you have Antibes, Cannes, Saint-Tropez, all of these really cute French Riviera towns that you can head up, maybe spend a few hours in each one, especially if you take the train. You don't have to worry about parking. Just, show up there, walk around. Now, we're on to the fun part. And thank you guys for watching all this long. Here's how we rank the 4 cities we've been to in France.
Nice, number 1. Paris, number 2. Lyon, number 3. Montpellier, number 4. Now let us know if you agree or not. And what is your ranking?
Hopefully this video helps you guys kind of pick where to go in France, the things to aim to do or not. It just gives you an idea of what you guys should aim for in your next France vacation.
Bye.